Hi, this is Gruenke from the Balanced Runner System. I love it when something goes wrong right at the beginning of these videos. It always makes me feel very cheerful, like swallowing a chocolate almond wrong and having to cough and ripping my sweater off in the middle of the thumbnail. So we're off to a great start. I'm the founder of the Balanced Runner System, and I've been helping runners from beginner to Olympian improve their form and performance since 2003. And I'm here today with another stuck-at-home running form tip for you. And we've been talking about how to run slowly with good form, because you need to be able to do that for easy runs, recovery runs, MAF training if you're doing that. But I want to just take a little break for a moment and today talk about something that you need to understand about how to really improve your running form. And so I've been getting lots of great questions in these live streams and also by email and comments from people. It's been really fun to hear what people want to know and their responses to these videos, and that's awesome. And a lot of them are very specific, which is cool, which is absolutely fine. But there's an underlying foundation to all of this that I want for you to understand, and it's going to change completely how you think about improving your running form. So running isn't something that just happens in your body. It's not contained in your body alone. It's not a set of movements that you do with your body, which could be either right or wrong, better or worse. It's and if it were, then it would totally make sense to have a list of instructions. Always move your arm like this. Always, well, my instructions, they're always move your pelvis, do this, but I never say do this movement, right? I say this movement is part of healthy running form. Semantic, it's beyond semantic. Anyway, it would make sense to have just a list of instructions. The way, the instructions for the Macarena are one arm out, second arm out, cross your arm, cross, right? But your running form isn't like that. The Macarena isn't even really like that, or dancing isn't even really like that. It's something, it's a set of movements that we see a runner make, but they're not produced by the runner. They're produced by the runner interacting with the environment. And every single thing that happens with your body, every movement that occurs, is created by an interaction. It's not created by a set of voluntary muscle movements. So, and the way that you regulate your running form is by taking feedback from that interaction with the ground, simply put, with gravity, the ground's essential partner, and with the air, and then with all of the specifics, with the pebble, with the hill, with the terrain, with the nature of the ground, with the wind, with the sun, with every small thing in your environment, requires an act of regulation on your part in that interaction that makes it running and not falling over or walking or rolling down the hill or any of the other movements that could result from you interacting with your environment in that way, so that it becomes impossible to draw a line, like what do you do and what comes from the environment, because they're totally interwoven, in the context of your intention to be running and not rolling down the hill. And what you do that makes your form better is that you get better at taking that feedback in your interaction with, the environment that you're in, and first being able to sense that feedback ever better, And then second, being able to respond in a way that is going to help you better fulfill your intention to run. And that means not having just one set of habits, one set of canned responses, if you will, to a particular bit of feedback. And the issue of pounding and impact is a classic one here, and it's very easy to see for runners, because people, especially a lot of new runners or people who are used to a lot of cushioning, or people haven't kind of, it's just really classic to like really hit the ground hard, right? And you feel, let me back up a little more. So you feel, impact. And that makes you do something to try and protect yourself. And maybe you do always the same thing. Your leg swings out in front of you. You contact the ground, and that makes you tighten your abdomen or pull your head back because you are afraid of falling. Or, one kind of movement always happens when you have this input. And so your ability to regulate your movement so that you could run faster, so that you could cause less stress on your knees and your lower back and your plantar fascia, you're not aware of the other options for how to respond to that. Not even just consciously, but just like you just don't have that in your repertoire of possibilities. That the impact, actually, you're going to respond to that by letting your knee bend more and landing not so much on the back of your heel, but here. And if a person with a bigger repertoire, who say was used to running in cushions shoes, and so they're used to landing like this because it doesn't feel like that much of a jolt, they take their shoes off. I mean, everybody does this to a certain degree. You do this a couple times in bare feet, and you're like, spontaneously, you start bending your knee more and landing a little flatter. So that's an act of regulation. You have regulated your movement in response to this feedback. And so that's a well-known example from, lots of people's experience teaching barefoot running, mine included. But it happens all the time. It happens every time you're running outside and the wind slightly changes direction. You respond to that. You make a shift. And so to run better, again, you need not just like one canned response that you always have, but you need a palette of options so you can always choose the best. And so you can choose the best for an ever more subtle range of stimuli. Stimuli is not the right word, but ever more subtle range of interactions. That's better. Again, the pebble, the uneven ground. For some runners, it really feels very dangerous to run on a stony trail because they don't have enough of a range of responses for how to organize, how to stand on different parts of your foot and take off of different parts of your foot. There's just one way, I don't know if, how can you take off? Can you land like this without spraining your ankle? Can you land like that without spraining your ankle? Do you know how to shift your weight relative to that? And then can you find a way to push off? And when you expand that range of you can't do this stuff consciously because you just don't have enough processing power. It's all done, kind of behind the veil of consciousness. And then you become a better runner. And then your form becomes, actually, it looks more consistent. And you're, more able to fulfill your goals, to run the speeds you want to run in the places that you want to run, the distances that you want to run. And that's what improving your form is. So I talk a lot about how it works, right? Your pelvis needs to move and you should land with a supple leg, and you need to slide your head forward on your atlas vertebra, because in 18 years or so of working with runners and having had to figure out myself also how to run, These are the things that I have seen empirically, because I'm using this tool of the Feldenkrais method of movement education, which helps people perform this act of regulation much, much better, develop more options. These are the things that I've seen over and over and over and over and all the time. And when they happen, people become better runners, and suddenly they PR in races, and they get happy, and they say that running feels great. It feels like it does in my dreams. So I'm not trying to, I'm trying to provide you insight by talking about the things that I'm talking about, but I just want you to understand that running isn't a set of correct actions that you need to learn how to do. It's an interaction with the environment that you need to learn. You need to develop your range of movement options and your sensitivity, so you can keep having that interaction better and better. And this is why I absolutely love what I do. And I'm quite confident that this is also why you love running. And it's because we inherited this ability from our ancestors, and we evolved it as part of this environment. We evolved it in this gravitational field, on all these kinds of terrains that we have, in all this kind of weather that we have, and and wind, and everything there is that we experience. Running, we and the earth co-evolved to create running for, hundreds of thousands of years. And this is a fundamental aspect of our humanness. And this, I think, is why, the runners who come to me, people want to run faster. They have specific goals. They love a good challenge, different people, different things. But one of the things that practically everybody says is running, fundamentally, running is my sanity. Running is my form of meditation. And that's only possible because it's part of your humanness, and it's not just a thing. It's not just a set of correct actions that you do with your body, right? And it's how you weave yourself back into this beautiful world that we live in, and in fact aren't ever separate from this beautiful world that we live in. We're just fundamentally a part of it, and we're a part of it in every step that we take and every breath that we take as runners. And so it's Earth Day. This is my little Earth Day speech, I suppose, is to encourage you to have more respect for yourself as a runner, to not treat yourself like a machine trying to learn to perform perfect actions, but as a living being in constant interaction with the world around you, learning how to improve that relationship. And, I think that you're going to be really, really happy with how you feel from your very next run if you make that change. And I hope that today you'll have some opportunity to experience that. If you're somewhere that you're not able to go outside right now, even just to open a window, take a breath, do some running in place or some jogging around your living room, you've got gravity. You may not be allowed to go outside, but gravity is always there for you, making running possible. You can't run on the moon because there's not enough gravity. So you can experience that interaction right there. And if you are able to get outside and run somewhere beautiful, you think of your running yourself and your place as not so easy to draw the line between the two, and see what your experience is like. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have found this valuable. Please hit like if you did, so that YouTube knows to share it with other people who would also be inspired by this, I hope. And I will put a link to my Mind Your Running challenge. It's a free challenge in the description below. So that teaches you how to negotiate this relationship, how to develop a better repertoire of options and responses to the feedback that you get from your relationship with the world around you as you're creating this act of running. And so hopefully that will be something really enjoyable for you to do. Please check out all the other great resources I have for you on balancedrunner.com, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't so you don't miss a video. I will be back tomorrow to talk more nuts and bolts about how we shift our form when we want to run slower, all right? So have a great Earth Day, and I'll see you tomorrow.